In this video, let's talk about some positive injury updates regarding Sneed, Kadarius, Toney, and some others, and look at the common denominator regarding the Eagles losing to the Chiefs 3 times in a row when previously the Chiefs had lost to the Eagles 3 times in a row. But first, how about those? All right, first up, Super Bowl opening night media extraordinaire was last night, and it was pretty cool, I guess. The captains all got to sit up there together. You saw Mahomes over there with Hurts, the first dual black QBs starting in NFL history, the youngest duo in history, the first time it's brother versus brother, Kelsey Bowl, Andy Reid and his former team. Lots of storylines here, lots of interesting questions, but also many generic questions that turned into generic answers. You know how it goes with players keeping a straight face around the media. Travis Kelce, for example, was asked about his brothers or his parents several times on and off the stage, and his mom, this is cool, even brought them some cookies, hopefully chocolate chip, which was very nice of her. Lots of pressers and players talking, but one clip I found pretty cool was Pacheco telling the media he was so overwhelmed by everything that he broke down with his parents about it all.
I broke down the other night to my parents about it because it's so exciting and so happy to be here. Like, I had to let it go, and if I didn't let it go, like, I probably would have been crying up here right now.
Yeah, Pacheco's story is pretty freaking wild, man. Losing 2 siblings while in college and never even attending an NFL game until he played for the Chiefs. He was on the field. That was the first time being in an NFL stadium, or rather watching an NFL game. And I do hope that the Chiefs win a ring for multiple reasons, but if they do, I will especially be excited for Isaiah Pacheco. And from here, I want to take a moment to look back at the Chiefs versus Eagles history since Andy Reid has been a head coach, because when you look at it, the stats are pretty wild. Andy is currently 3-0 against his former team. The Chiefs won in 2013, 26-16, then again in 2017 by a touchdown. So 27-20 was that final score. And then back in October of 2021, the Chiefs won by 12, dropping a 40-burger. My voice can't even say it, dropping a 40-burger and winning in rather convincing fashion, 42-30. Let's talk about this game for a moment, and then I want to share a little bit more about the past history between these two teams. In that game, in 2021, Mahomes went 24 of 30 for 278 yards, 5 touchdowns, and he did throw an interception, but they were also able to run for 200 yards, which is rather high for the Chiefs on average. CEH had 14 carries for 102 yards. Darrell Williams had 10 carries for 42 yards and a TD. Meanwhile, Hurts had some nice stats himself. He was 32 of 48 for 387 yards, good God, and 2 touchdowns. And he also rushed 8 times for 47 yards. He had over 400 total yards himself, that little animal. In that 2021 game, the Chiefs had more total yards, barely, but still, a win is a win. They averaged more yards per carry and went 9 for 10 on third downs. And while I won't sit here and pretend either of those teams are the same and we should expect the same results, you do have to look at the common denominator in all of these matchups, and that is head coach Andy Reid, the Hall of Famer, one of the greatest coaches to ever play the game himself. He's an incredible coach, one of the best to ever do it, and more times than not, he's going to find a way to win. I mean, look at this. When Andy Reid was coaching the Eagles, they played the Chiefs in 2001, winning 23-10. And I was at that game, by the way. It was freaking cold. Went with my brother and my dad. Hats off to the fam. The Eagles then won again in 2005, 37-31. And then they won the next match as well in 2009, 34-14. So when Andy Reid was coaching the Eagles, he went 3-0 against the Chiefs. Then, since he's been coaching with the Chiefs, he went 3-0 against the Eagles and hopefully 4-0 this Sunday. And I say all that to say this, Andy Reid, he's the freaking X factor in these games, and that's why I believe he can make it happen once again. Experience, he's going to find a way. Mahomes, one ankle, doesn't matter. I think they're going to get it done. All right, now, on to some injury updates and good news regarding injuries from a few players. But first, if you guys love caffeine, inject it into your veins as much as I do, you should consider getting some of my coffee. It's simply called How About That Coffee, or the HBTC blend. See, I recently partnered with Brandon Perna and his coffee company, Benchwarmer Brew, and I have a great tasting medium roast coffee that I truly am proud of. It's a Mexican and Ethiopian blend with chocolate and citrus flavor notes, and since the team we root for is the most winningest org in the league, I can promise you that you'll feel like a winner while sipping on this liquid form of victory. I think I just made that term up, but something I am not making up is some great news about Chiefs cornerback Sneed. He suffered a concussion. That's not good, but we'll get to the good news in a second. Very early in the AFC Championship game, it was like the 3rd play of the game. He left never returned and was in the protocol. And with concussions, it's always a concern now when a player will be cleared to return to play, especially given the most recent changes to the concussion protocol due to Tua Tagovailoa turned the ball over, multiple concussions that he's had this season. Well, thank God the Chiefs had a bye week because last week Sneed did not participate in practice at all, but per James Palmer last night, he said, quote, cornerback L'Jarius Sneed told me he has cleared concussion protocol. Huge, he'll practice tomorrow. He's good to go for Super Bowl Sunday. So let's freaking go, man. I realize the Chiefs secondary held it down without Sneed there for the AFC Championship, but this man is a must-have player out there for the big game. He's the team's most tenured cornerback, one of the most valuable pieces of their secondary, and is the only corner on the team who has appeared in the Super Bowl with his team. He's currently the 8th highest overall graded corner in the league per PFF and the 11th best overall graded in coverage. On top of that, Sneed led all cornerbacks in tackles with 97, leading by 15 to the guy in second. He also leads all corners in QB pressures with 19, QB hurries with 14, is tied for first with 2 batted down passes, and is tied for first with Isaiah Simmons with 4 sacks. So it is safe to say he is him, H-I-M, for the Chiefs secondary and will be a key to the game plan against the Eagles on Sunday for sure. As far as the rest of the players, there's no injury report out. So all we have currently to go on is the words from Coach Reid and the players themselves in Coach's presser today. He said that everybody practiced yesterday and will do the same today. I'm going to be curious about Willie Gay Jr. and his shoulder. How's he looking? I know Trey Smith was banged up a little bit, though I don't think he was on the injury report, but there's just some players that were kind of banged up. Willie Gay Jr., his shoulder seemed to be a bit more serious. He was limited last week in practice. So I want to see the injury report that I think is going to come out tomorrow. Then we can start to gauge how these players are looking. But again, it's going to be a more calm practice today. The next 3 are going to be a little bit tougher. That is per the words of Coach Reid, although he did say this about Kadarius Toney and Juju Smith-Schuster. He said they look good, but we will see how things go. The next 3 days will be a little bit tougher, so that's what we got to look for. How are they going to do when they start to ramp things up? How is Juju's knee going to hold up? Is the swelling down? Is he done limping on it? What about Kadarius Toney's ankle? Stuff that I must know. And on the subject of Kadarius Toney, Tyler Dragon, he works for USA Today, and he asked Toney last night if he'd be playing in the Super Bowl, and Toney said that he is, quote, definitely playing on Sunday. Well, I sure freaking hope so. We need this man because Mecole Hardman has officially been placed on IR. More on that in a moment. And so we need Toney very badly. Yes, please, and thank you. And while he will more than likely play, I mean, my biggest question is, y'all's biggest question is, yeah, I said y'all, it's fine, I'm from Missouri. How healthy is Kadarius Toney actually going to be? Because when healthy, he's one of the craziest potential X factors out on the field at any given moment. But we all know this. Injuries have continued to be a struggle for him throughout his short NFL career. This happened when he was with the Giants multiple times. He had off-season knee surgery. He has jacked up his hamstring a few different times this season. Even when the Giants traded for him, he was coming off of being injured for a little while and has struggled with injuries while here in KC. So I am hoping he gets as right as he possibly can, and I hope the freaking best for this man. Because again, Mecole Hardman gone on IR for the season, so we need a gadget player running the jet sweeps, somebody that is truly feared, okay? Sky Moore is great, all right, but Kadarius Toney is truly feared when he is doing jet sweeps. You have to take that man very seriously. So hopefully he is close to 100% as he possibly can be. So with Mecole Hardman being placed on IR yesterday, running back CEH Clyde Edwards-Helaire was taken off of IR and placed back on the 53-man roster. And Coach Reid had this to say when asked about his expectations for Clyde this week. He said, we'll practice him this week and just see where we are at. Ronald Jones has done a good job for us too, so we'll just see how it all works out. It's good to have him back for sure. Generic answer, let's just be honest. And something else we got to be honest about, I have no idea what to make of a CEH return. Do we see them utilize multiple backs in the backfield like they did in Week 18 against the Raiders? Could you see both Clyde and McKinnon out there at the same time, or a combo of either him and or Pacheco? I mean, you don't even need Clyde in there to do that. Then what of Ronald Jones? Remember, CEH has been out since November, and having him come back for the Super Bowl and being possibly quite a bit rusty is certainly interesting. He's gone like months without playing in a game. So my question to you guys is, how much do you think CEH could be utilized this Sunday? Do you think he will even be dressed out to play, or will he be inactive? What of Ronald Jones? Will he suit up? Let me know in the comments your thoughts, because this is a interesting situation to follow. I even saw some people on Twitter saying, hey, They might have all these guys suited up and out there if they feel like wide receiver depth is going to be in question. Like if you go into this game, Juju gets hurt again with his knee, Kadarius and his ankle gets re-aggravated. Like you need some people out there. You could actually throw McKinnon out there in the slot. You could do all kinds of different stuff and have them running out and catching passes. I have no idea if that's going to happen, but it's certainly interesting, something to think about for sure. And then Coach Reed also touched on one of the most concerning injuries on the team, and that is Patrick Mahomes' ankle. Anklegate was last week, and it has still continued this week a bit. It's been less scrutinized in how he walks and steps around, but it's still something on everybody's mind. This is the update. Currently, it's not 100%, but the training staff is working with him endlessly, rehabbing him borderline around the clock and doing their best to get him as close to 100% as possible. Mahomes did comment on the ankle as well. I mean, he was asked about it like a dozen times and said the extra week has helped out a ton, but he's still attacking it and trying to get as healthy as possible. His goal is to try to have no restrictions. He's going to push it this week in practice. Remember, today, easier day. The next 3, they are going to be moving a lot more. So he's going to push it in practice this week and see what he can do. But again, noted that it is doing way better though. And depending on how he does this week, they will see if he's able to execute all the plays in the game plan or if there are any that need to be removed. So hopefully they don't have to remove much. We need this man as close to 100% as possible. The Eagles D-line, no freaking joke, racked up over 70 sacks, have 4 pass rushers, I believe, that have 10 plus sacks. That is freaking mind-blowing. So Mahomes is going to certainly, hopefully, Lord willingly, be getting the ball out quickly. And that is why I think Kadarius, Toney, and others are just going to have to step it up. Hopefully MBS, big game. Justin Watson will be back. He won't be sick anymore. And then Travis Kelce, healthy back. Let's freaking go. Anyway, if all those guys are back even close to healthy, that's going to be huge for the Chiefs in this game on Sunday. The Eagles are the real deal. Got to hand them the L and get another ring for this team. And until next time, let's go. Let's freaking go. How about those?